Yeah, we're going to talk briefly about what's going on. As you guys know, during the RNC, Tel Aviv was struck with what people thought was a car bomb originally. It turns out it was a drone strike. It was a drone. Okay? Now, that was unique. People were like, damn, it must be Hezbollah, right? It must be Hezbollah because sorry, it must be Hezbollah because like they had drone footage over whatever. I myself thought maybe it is Hezbollah, maybe it's retaliation, and then out of nowhere, it's the motherfucking Houthis, dude. Out of nowhere, they're like, no, actually, we did that shit. They sent a goddamn drone that penetrated Israeli air defenses. Incredible. Like, that's unheard of, okay? That is unheard of. One person died in Tel Aviv. I think one person was injured. But it's like crazy to think. Like, this is a completely new planet we're living on, okay? Straight up. Completely new planet. Like, it's over. Like, this destroys the security veil that the Israeli government desperately wants to maintain so goddamn hard. Yeah, Houthis claimed it an hour after, called it a quality strike. I think 7 people were injured overall, and one of those ended up dying. Yeah, one person died. I thought it was one person injured, but I guess 7 people got injured. No, it was not a tiny drone. It was a big drone. It was a drone that has like, I guess, the footprint of like a car. It was like pretty massive. I bet you they weren't even doing it to defend Palestine. Fuck you mean they weren't doing it to defend Palestine? They have been very open about their motivations from the jump. Like, there is no reason to make false inferences. They had these targeting capabilities, it seems. They've never applied them. They've never utilized them. I suspect that what they have to say on the matter is somewhat important, you know what I mean? And they say it all the time. They keep saying, like, no, we're doing this because Israel's doing genocide in Gaza, which is true. Israel is doing genocide in Gaza.
Houthi rebels are claiming responsibility for the drone strike near the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv. 1 person was killed, 8 others injured in the attack. This is the first time the Iran-backed militants are known to have hit Tel Aviv, signaling what could be a major escalation in the region. ABC News foreign correspondent Britt Clennett is in Jerusalem now, following the very latest. Britt, what more do we know about how the Houthis carried out this attack and Israel's response here? Because how was this drone not detected any earlier?
Well, I think that's a question that a lot of Israelis, especially in Tel Aviv, are asking. The Israeli military says it's investigating why, as you say, it did not identify, attack or intercept this Iranian-made drone. It was an attack on Tel Aviv, which, as you say, the Houthis claim responsibility for. But these questions are mounting. Why no sirens? Why no one detected this coming from miles away? Israel really prides itself, as you know, Gio, on its air defense system, not just the famous Iron Dome, but it has other layers of air defense too. But in this case, it failed, and that led to the most serious attack in Tel Aviv since October 7th, triggering really a sense of unease when there has been a relative calm and security in the city. And so there are worries among residents of more to come, with the Houthis vowing to continue these kinds of attacks, Gio.
And when you just said October 7th, Britt, I mean, this reminds us that we are now 9 months into this war. You just spoke to a former IDF soldier. What did they tell you?
Yuval Green is a former IDF combat medic. He's one of the very few Israeli soldiers who have served in Gaza to speak out publicly against the Israel-Hamas war. Now, he told us we have to put our pressure into finishing this war. Let's take a listen to what he had to say. Why are you speaking out?
We have to agree to a deal that would say that all the hostages would be released and the war would end and Israel won't be able to further keep it, because this is horrible. Yeah. Palestinians have been dying. The destruction I've seen in Gaza is just behind every imagination. You can't imagine it.
Now, Green's frustration over the lack of progress on the hostage deal is widely shared in Israel, and it comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to travel to the U.S. next week. It's a trip hosted by the Republicans, but he is expected to speak in Congress on Wednesday, and there has been a lot of positive rhetoric from the U.S. side towards getting this ceasefire and hostage deal done. But, you know, here on the ground, there's far less optimism, with some Israelis accusing the PM of dragging his feet.
Oh, so many people suffering and thinking about how to move forward here. Britt Clennett, as always, thank you so much for your reporting there in Israel.
Welcome back. I want to bring you an update to that breaking news I brought you just a short while ago about reports of strikes on oil refineries.
Do you think that they will ramp up attacks on Yemen now? Well, you have your answer. Israel strikes launched against Houthi-led Yemeni city day after the Tel Aviv attack.
There is in the Yemen port city of Hodeidah, while the Israel Defense Force have confirmed that they, in fact, were behind those strikes. In a statement, they said that a short while ago, IDF jets struck military targets of the Houthi terrorist regime in the area of Hodeidah in Yemen in response to the hundreds of attacks carried out against the state of Israel in recent months. The statement continues, there is no change in the Home Front Command's defensive guidelines. In the case of a change to these guidelines, I'll update the public accordingly. Of course, the Houthis were blamed for a strike that hit Tel Aviv, a drone strike that killed at least one person. And the Houthis have, of course, been continually attacking international shipping in and around the Red Sea, they say, in solidarity with the situation in Gaza. It is reported this is the first time that Israel has struck Yemen in response to some of those ongoing Houthi attacks. Of course, Yemen is over 1,000 miles from Israel, but the IDF confirming that fighter jets struck military targets in the port city.
Yeah, the one speed that America, the coalition forces, and like Israel has is basically this, right? They just keep bombing Yemen. They're like, when all else fails, let's just fucking blow up their infrastructure. Like, they blew up the port, okay? And it's like, dude, it didn't work. Why are you guys, even if you don't care about, like, the human beings, right? I don't know why they just keep doing this. Like, they're like, oh, eye for an eye, fuck you. We're always going to escalate. You know, you fucking droned us. How dare you? That was embarrassing. That was disrespectful. Like, we're just going to obviously respond with orders of magnitude worse. All right, yeah, today the Houthis found out. And it's like, dude, I don't think posting through it is going to help you, especially when you're basically destroying, the notion that you can keep Jews safe in Israel. Okay? And they just keep fucking blowing up Yemen. And it's like, dude, they were genocided. When's the 2v2? Oh, it's happening very soon. I'm going to leave in a second. Yeah, the strike did not target Houthis, but Yemeni infrastructure generally. It is in line with Israeli military doctrine, permitting mass retaliation against civilian infrastructure to punish militant attacks. The Dahiyya doctrine, it is an adaptation of the old European colonial practice. That's it. Is the Dahiyya doctrine effective? Doesn't seem to be. In sense, Hezbollah, Dahiyya is a Beirut suburb obliterated by the IDF during 2006 war, emerged from the conflict more determined and powerful. That said, until recently, there was a balance of deterrence that has held since 2006. And it's like, you're doing that, but all you're doing in this situation is like galvanizing Ansar Allah. Like, people are not going to look at this and go, oh, I actually feel as though Israel struck my fucking port because of the Houthis and I hate them now. No, they're going to be like, I hate you and now I hate you fucking more. But similarly, won't the Tel Aviv attack galvanize the IDF? No. You want to know why? Because, well, one, the IDF is already maxed out on the galvanization. So that's number one. What are they going to fucking want to do? Genocide extra hard? They're already fucking, that's it. Like, that's the most you can do is genocide to a population. That's number one. Number two, no, that kind of attitude, that kind of violence that they actually experience is unique And it actually ends up causing significant political consequences. Israelis are comfortable, okay? At the end of the day, the IDF is comprised of reservists that are otherwise like marketing managers and fucking executives and DJs, okay? People who operate pizza shops called Dance Party. Those are the dudes who are fucking not really super invested in going into war, but now they feel as though they have to, okay? They're comfortable bullies. The Yemeni population, all they know is death and destruction. They've never known a different reality. They literally overcame genocide in the midst of a civil war. So, like, for them, it's another Tuesday. You know what I mean? All they know is fighting back. This gives them a sense of honor and a sense of purpose. It only reaffirms their commitment. Same thing goes with the Lebanese. Whereas this is their response to it. I mean, yeah, this is like, I think this is an older one, but it doesn't matter. Ansar Allah plays by different rules compared to the other non-state actors in the Axis. It's hard to believe that Israel's strike on Yemen sought to restore its deterrence when it's widely known that the Houthis are not constrained in the same way other actors in the resistance axis are, nor do they subscribe to the same rules of engagement or red lines as Iran or Hezbollah. It's very unlikely that their imminent response will be limited to the sub-threshold level, as yesterday's drone strike on Tel Aviv demonstrates, but will entail more vertical escalation. Their retaliation will potentially target non-military sites in Israel, mirroring Israel's targeted civilian infrastructure today. Given that Israel must have anticipated all this, its actions today appear to be guided by political theater and domestic posturing, in other words, political bankruptcy. That part is also correct, because the Yemeni population have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? They've lost everything already. I don't think we understand from the comfort of our homes in the Western world what it looks like to be like a person who's 18, 19 years old. And like, since you were 11, all you have seen is bloodshed in your country and mass famine and genocide. Okay? And you see that, and then you're like, well, this American-backed genocide occurred to me. Okay? And that time it was the Saudis and the UAE. Now, what? What is this? Hezbollah knows they can't overextend to Yemen, as does Israel. There's a reason. What? This is a reason militant groups like the Houthis are dangerous. They don't necessarily respond to the best interests of the country they reside in, but just in response to the ideology they follow. In this case, a rightful hatred of Israel's actions, but it's probably bad for Yemen in the long run. What are you talking about? Their commitment to resisting against Israel's genocide by blocking off the Red Sea has been roundly celebrated, both in Yemen, where all of the other actors that were previously working over one another to murder each other basically came together and were like, no, we're under the guidance of Ansar Allah on this. We all resist against Israel together. So you're actually wrong on that front. There is a lot of consensus. The Air Force's initial investigation claimed the drone was spotted by the system, but wasn't intercepted due to human error at the operation room. I mean, we'll see. We shall see. But ultimately, this is worse consequences for Israel. I don't know where they're getting the confidence that they're going to be fine, and like no more severe punishments will occur. No more escalation will come from the Yemeni side. They're just going to retaliate. They're fucking crazy. Bro, they've been capturing ships in the Red Sea and logging that shit down with zero consideration for their own safety or security. Like, they have nothing to lose. I don't know why you undermine a group of people who very clearly demonstrate that they have nothing to lose and they want one thing and one thing only. Especially when that one thing that they want is unironically a good thing, okay? Like, stopping Israel's ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza is a good thing, okay? The abolition of the apartheid regime is a good thing. These are good things that they are advocating for. You might not agree with all the other stuff. I certainly don't. I don't like their campaign. I don't like their sloganeering, right? But ultimately, what they're doing in this circumstance is an increase of pressure in a way, in the same way, to try and democratize the violence that Israel's dishing out. And especially when you have a group of people who are, you know, used to just going to the fucking nightclubs and eating falafels and going to the fucking beach. And then all of a sudden they are reminded that there's a war going on. Well, that changes the dynamic for the entire population, don't you think? For people in Yemen, they know there's a war going on all the fucking time. That's all they've known. That's all they've experienced. For people in Gaza, they know there's a war going on. That's all they know. That's all they've experienced. They know that there's a genocide happening right now. People in Israel do not think about the genocide that they're engaging in. All of a sudden, this causes them to maybe reconsider it. The more costly Israel's genocide becomes for Israel, and this is precisely the reason why I was advocating for America to apply more pressure from the jump in an effort to save the Israeli civilians' lives, okay?